Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, this is a little tutorial to show you how to magnetise Eldar Wraithblades stroke Wraithguard. So we're aiming to magnetise these with all of the weapon options. Now first of all, you'll need to remove all the bits from the sprues and clean up the mould lines. Very important. We want our models to look as good as we can get them. You will then be able to start to build them. Now you will notice I've pretty much built all of mine except for the arms and the head. Now I haven't glued the heads on yet. I'm going to glue those on at the end because I want to be able to basically pose them depending on where the arms are going to be. I may potentially magnetise the head even at the end. I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll see how it goes. Now what I did for mine is I used some of the Wraithguard bits and some of the Wraithblade bits all in the same mini, so that when I am interchanging them from one to the other, at least I'll have some attributes from each model. So that's how I did mine. You're welcome to do yours, of course, however you wish. So let's put the minis aside for a second and I'll run through exactly what we're going to do. So first of all, over here we've got the two gun options. We're going to magnetise those so we can have both gun options. Then over here at the back there we've got the two left arm pieces. These are already built, so I've got the shield, which is one option for the left arm, or there's the sword for the other one. Now although I said these are built, you can actually glue these together. I haven't done mine yet, and the reason is because it's such a small area to glue, I've actually put a pin in mine. So mine are pinned. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to glue mine in at the end once again so I can see the poses once it's all magnetised. But effectively they're just a straight magnetisation of the arm. We're then going to have a look at the right arm, which is this one here, where you'll be able to, or basically you need to have swords or axes as the option. So we're going to have to magnetise the arm and also the hands on that section. So that is what we're going to do. Now the only thing that I did for the minis basically beforehand in the preparation is before I glued them together, in the armpit section there, I drilled just a very small hole right in the centre. And that is just a guiding hole because I'm now going to go in with my 2mm drill bit and I'm going to drill a small 2mm hole into that joint. And that little guide hole is really good to stop it from slipping basically. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drill a little hole into all of those joints, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to have a talk about magnets. Right, so that's the holes drilled out in the armpits there. So I've drilled those out fairly generously because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some green stuff in before I put the magnet in as well, just to help it bond, obviously along with super glue. And now the magnets I'm going to use for this section are these. So these are 2 by 1mm magnets. I shall put some links to the magnets that I use in the description, so go and check those out if you need to. And the magnets that you're going to be after are neodymium magnets. They come in 3 different strengths, so you've got N35, N42 and N52. The higher the number, the stronger they are. Currently N52 is the strongest, and that's what these little babies are, so they're very powerful magnets. But N52 isn't available in all the different magnet sizes, so you may have to drop down to 42, which is fine. I mean 42s are still pretty strong. To be fair, I've also used N35s as well. If you're magnetising something which basically goes with gravity, so if you had like a gun and you're magnetising on, it just needs to rotate, then it's absolutely fine, the lower magnets. But obviously in this case, where we're magnetising it here, and the gun's going to be on here, it may potentially drop down. We need some nice powerful magnets, so that's why I'm using these N52s in this tutorial. Okay, so next up I'm going to put some green stuff in here. I'm then going to put the magnet in as well. I've got my little magnet topper, so I know exactly the polarity of the magnets when I put them on, and I'm going to make these have the same polarity in each socket on every model so that the weapons are going to be totally interchangeable. Okay, so I'm going to do that next and I'll come back. Okay, so that's that bit done. I've now glued in the magnets with some green stuff, put them in, made them flush, and of course they all have the same polarity around exactly the same way. So I've done that on all of those, and next we're going to move on to one of the arms. And we're going to move on to the left arm first, that's the easiest one. So basically we've got the shield arm and then the sword arm. And we're going to start by drilling a hole into this shoulder piece. Now what I did first, because I'm going to use my 2x1mm magnets once again, but what I did is I basically put the magnet to the side and just made sure that there was actually enough room to drill this hole in, and also that it was wide enough, and it is. Now the way to do it is to basically do a very small amount at a time. Now you will get faster once you've done one or two, but to start with, once you've got it in the centre, just drill a little indentation, just drill a little bit of a hole, come back, get your magnet and just push it in, see how much more you need to drill, and then just go and just drill a little bit more, just gradually drill it until you've got it deep enough to put the hole, which I've already done on one of these here. So there's the hole that I've drilled in, and the magnet now fits in absolutely perfectly. And the way I would do this is how I actually put the magnet in, is I get my little modelling tool and I just magnetise it to here, making sure that I know which way it's going to be put into the hole. I'll then basically just get one of the magnets off, got two there, we go, and then put a very small piece of green stuff into the hole, bit of super glue, and then I basically take the magnet and I'd push it in like that, and then just slide it out, and it will stay in with the green stuff and the super glue. Just leave that to dry. I've already got one done, so that is one magnet in there. That's still drying. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill the rest of the holes out in both arms, put the magnets in, and once I've done that, I'm then going to have a look at actually gluing these pinned arms for the swords. Okay, so we'll do some more work and then I shall come back. Right, that's that bit done. So what I did is obviously put all the magnets into the arms, and then with the sword ones I've actually glued these on now. So what I did is I put a very small piece of green stuff in the hole where the pin was going to go, and then I put some super glue on the pin, push the hand in, and the super glue and the green stuff just gives you like an instant bond. So these are all done, and obviously I put them in different poses, but they're all interchangeable, so I can pretty much put any sword on any guy that I like and it will just instantly change the pose, which is really nice. So that's all the sword arms done on the left. Just take those off and I'll show you the shields. So these are the shields, just pop them on there. As you can see, the magnetizing with these really strong magnets is fantastic, he says, as long as you get it on. That one, and lastly that one. There you go, so that's that piece done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to all the other arms. So what I'm going to do is basically on the gun section I'm going to drill that 2mm hole and put the magnet in on all of those gun arms, on the other side of the gun arms, just in the shoulder piece here, and then I'm going to do the other arm which goes on the other side, which is the one that holds the sword stroke axe, which will eventually get to magnetizing those. First of all, I'm going to go in and just repeat the shoulder joints that I did on these arms and all of those other arms. So I'm going to do that and I'll come back when I've got some more done. Right, there you go. So I've just gone into all of the guns and I've put magnets into the shoulder joints and also on the other arms that we've got for the other side. So there's the magnets there. So next up we're going to move onto this little wrist section, and we're going to have a look at magnetizing that between the sword and the axe. Now this is actually quite a small area, so those 2x1mm magnets are just a little bit too big. So I'm now going to bring in these little babies. These are 1x1mm. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. Now these are N42, so they're quite powerful, but they're not the most powerfulest. Obviously being quite small means you do get a little drop in the power ability as well, but there is a way around that. So I've got my little plastic testers here. So what I've done is I've glued one magnet into that hole, and then on this side I've glued another magnet. And as you can see, it magnetizes reasonably well. But if we want that stronger, all we do is drill the hole a little bit deeper, and we actually put 2 magnets in. So in here we've got 2, so that's 1, this is 2, and now we get a much stronger fit. It's actually getting a nice snap there. Now if we want to take that one step further, just turn this over, because I've now got a hole with 2 in this side and 2 in this side, and now we get a really lovely strong fit. So that is what I'm going to do on these arms. I'm basically going to drill a hole out. I'm going to use the smallest drill piece that comes from the GW set, which is the one I usually use for paper clips. I'm going to drill that in. Now it's not quite big enough, so it's not a problem. All you do is basically drill a little hole in, and then as you twist it, you just sort of move it outwards slightly, and it just makes the hole slightly bigger. Now be warned, don't try and dry fit these magnets with the hole too small, because you'll push it in and the magnet will get stuck. And if your hole's not deep enough, you're just not going to get the magnets in. So make sure that you do sort of drill this hole out a little bit bigger than the magnets, so when you go to dry fit them in, they just go, you can basically just go right the way in, and then they come out without any touching. And then you could put a tiny bit of green stuff in there with the super glue and stick the magnets in, and we're going to go in too deep on the arms here. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I shall come back when I've done it. Okay, so that's the magnet in the wrist joint. As I said, I've put 2 in there. They all went in very nicely, so no problems there. So next up, we need to magnetize the axe and the sword. And the way we're going to do that was once again drill a hole in there with that little drill piece, make it slightly bigger, and we're going to put 2 magnets into there. So I'm going to do that next, and then that should be that arm done. Okay, so that is the little magnets in the hands of both the swords and the axes. So now, one of these arms here, we've got a magnetized sword and axe. Oh, hey. So that is that arm done. So next we are going to move over to the other arm, which is for the gun. And I'm going to go into the wrist, and I'm going to put some magnets into the 5 wrists as well. So I'm going to do that first, and I'll come back when that's done. Right, there you go. So that's the wrist section done on the gun arms. Drilled out the hole, put that little magnet in. And now the last thing that we need to do is the hand on the actual gun. So in there we're just going to drill a hole exactly like on the axes and swords, put the 2 magnets in, and then we're going to be able to magnetize those onto the arm. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'll come back when it's done. Right, that's that done then. So I've got magnets in all of the hands and all of the guns, and obviously that is now magnetized to the arms. I've also gone into the actual models there, and what I did in the end is I just glued the heads. I didn't really think it was worth magnetizing them, so they're all glued, and that's everything done. So hopefully the tutorial was useful to you. What I'm going to do now is just show you a few pictures of the minis with all the different weapon options, so you can see what they look like. Thanks for watching.